Everyone, I have some terrible news. Garry's mod is under attack. This is probably one of the worst attacks yet. And I personally, as a Gmod veteran, have no idea how the game's ever going to recover. I need to get a job. I need to contribute to society. What? From its birth in 2006, Garry's mod has inspired a generation of people. My first crossover with Gmod, I think I was like 12, and that was the Gmod Idiot Box by Das Boshi. It was literally the peak of loud and random equals funny, but because I was literally 12, I didn't care. I thought it was hilarious. And the thing is, that kind of humor inspires the content that I make today, for better or for worse. Another great example is Kitty0706, who made Team Fabulous 2, one of the best Gmod videos on YouTube. It's amazing. And after he passed, they reanimated the entire video into a Team Fabulous 2 animated collab. And also, you know, rest in peace, Kitty, one of the OGs. Others I can think of is the Idiots of Garry's Mod by Icton. That was a huge collab between a bunch of creators. Wasn't as well known, but still for its day, absolutely huge. I think the video now has like just under 10 million views. And for how small YouTube was back then, that is phenomenal. But anyway, long story short, Gmod inspired pretty much a whole generation of creators, including myself. Now, to the people that were born yesterday who don't know what Gmod is, your first video game was probably Fortnite. You have no culture. No culture at all. Gmod, or Garry's Mod, it's called that because the guy who made it is called Garry, is a mod for Half-Life 2 that basically gives you all of the assets and abilities from that game in a sandbox. So you can do whatever you want. If you want to get the red-headed woman from Half-Life 2 and attach her to like a balloon and make her float into orbit and then add a bathtub as well, or you could even turn the bathtub into a car by adding wheels on. You could do nearly anything in that game. I know I'm probably going to get publicly executed for this, but it is similar to Minecraft. I'm trying to like, you know, vibe with the younger generation here. It's kind of like Minecraft because you can do whatever you want. And also, more importantly, there are hundreds, if not thousands of servers that all fit a specific purpose. For example, in Gmod, you have Dark RP, where you would spawn in a city and take a role. Like, for example, someone that works at a shop or a policeman. Everyone picks the policeman because they can arrest who they want. Usually, you play the game for 5 minutes, you realize it's dead boring, and then you kill someone in the street for a funny, only for that child to then scream RDM, RDM, RDM. And then suddenly, without warning, you're dragged onto a rooftop by a 10-year-old admin where you have to explain your case like you're Johnny Depp taking the stand in the Amber Heard trial. I know that so many of you can empathize with what I just said, and the other half think I'm dribbling absolute nonsense. Now, why is Gmod under attack? Most people would assume copyright, you know, because the fact that you could pretty much download Hatsune Miku's Spyro the Dragon or any other copyrighted character, and there's no lawsuit, not yet. Well, surprisingly, it's nothing to do with copyright. It's a lot more bizarre than that. So Gmod is itself a mod, and it thrives off other mods or plugins. You can go onto the Steam mod page, and you can download pretty much any video game character or any gun or mod that you can think of. Now, there's also these add-ons that improve the user experience, quality of life stuff. The problem is, some of these quality of life mods were hijacked. To be specific, you've got the glue library, view extension, action extension, and ambient occlusion. Now, if you have any of these mods installed, please uninstall them right now, get them off your computer, unsubscribe to them on Steam, and then do a fresh wipe in the console regardless. Because if you don't, and you boot up Garry's mod, you're greeted to some of the worst imagery I think I've ever seen since 2010. I'm talking buttholes being spread goatsy style, a bunch of other random gore as well, and there's a screamer in the background of a man that sounds so excited he just got his first shiny Charizard. Now, thankfully, looking online now, these mods have all been pulled, so new people can't actually download them, but there might be a few of you watching who actually have these mods installed, so double check. Yeah, just you don't want to run Gmod and have these on. I'm being serious. There are videos on YouTube if you really want to go and have a look at what happens. You don't. Now, obviously, the next main question is, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Was it a hijacking, or was it something a little bit more malicious? Basically, there are two game theories going around at the minute. Firstly, it was a harmless hijacking. The original mod developer had nothing to do with this. He clicked a dodgy link, and he got his entire account hijacked. You can even find some screenshots of the dev panicking that his account had been compromised and having to rely on Steam support to get it back. I do want to say, relying on Steam support to get anything done, it's like using smoke signals to contact God. Steam support is one of the most unhelpful back-end services ever. If any of you have had like a trade scam or you clicked the dodgy link, basically, if you've ever needed Steam's help apart from buying something, chances are it's not going to happen. Now, him clicking a dodgy link and being hacked actually makes a lot of sense because a lot of these scammers that go around recently. Now, this theory about him being hacked, it seems pretty true because there are hacks out there and links that you click that can completely bypass any password, no matter how long, and more importantly, two-factor authentication. And this, unfortunately, is a very common tactic used on Steam. If you see someone's inventory, they got a couple knives, and you think, I want those, but I don't want to pay for them. But more recently, there are a couple theories that this might not be a hacking, but the dev himself just losing his mind. Apparently, reading online, the dev was like banned or something, I think, from Steam. And the thing is, if you go into the code of the mods that have been altered, you can see that there's some pretty edgelord stuff, basically saying he hates Steam, Gmod, Garry Newman that made Gmod, and even Gabe Newell. He even puts at one point, "Pay me money or die." Now, optimists still think that he was hacked and the hackers edited the code to frame him, to make him look like he's going insane. But yeah, it's one of those things that's going to be added to the Gmod iceberg of we're not really sure. Now, unfortunately, I do have to say this is probably the saddest news I've heard. This is the entire reason I made the video. Not only were these compatibility mods hacked, but we lost our beloved troll face player model. They could have had the glue, whatever. I've never heard of that in my life. Not the troll face player model. They cannot have that. Now, this situation, the case 0, it started on June the 3rd. So I would still just make sure to wipe. Honestly, I would wipe all my files off Gmod. Everything. I know it's effort to reinstall them, especially if you've got thousands or tens of thousands of mods, but it's kind of better to be safe than sorry in this situation, because thankfully these mods are just, you know, an image on the screen and a jump scare, but they could have been even more malicious than that, especially if you're downloading these externally and not just subscribing to a mod on Steam. There was a thing a while ago, I think. There was like a mod you can install for GTA 5, and that basically had like a keylogger that would try to hack people's accounts. Not good, basically. Long story short, not good. Personally, I would make sure everything's safe and do a fresh wipe and install, as opposed to booting up Gmod and having a small chance of being greeted by Hagrid's asshole. Honestly, if anything, I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner. Like, Gmod is an amazing tool, but the requirement for entry to install a mod is basically 0. So the fact that a popular mod got hijacked, this could be something we see more in the future. The Gmod subreddit has been up in arms over this, and they do what pretty much any subreddit does when there's any kind of like internal drama. They make fun of it. Boy, this is worse than the time I played Gmod with the troll face player model. It's genius, because if you weren't part of the Gmod community, you would have no idea what that means. Just buzzword heaven. Mr. White, don't open Gmod. Uninstall glue library, Mr. White. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Stay safe, Gmodders. And honestly, my personal opinion from all of this, if Valve listened to me and added the Fempyro into TF2, this wouldn't have happened. It's so obvious that this wouldn't have happened.